driving, just as an FYI.
Understood. Thank you.
But yeah, this is just going to be a kind of an overview interview, see what you're up to with Delaware North. I have a bunch of questions, but if you don't mind starting just with your role and then what the company's been up to of late, that would be great.
Absolutely. So I am the Vice President of Marketing for the Gaming and Entertainment Division. So essentially my role is to oversee marketing for all of our gaming properties here at Delaware North, whether they be land-based or digital. We're actually in a lot of different gaming businesses. We have poker rooms, we have racetracks, we have casinos, we have a route business in Illinois. We operate digital gaming, we operate sports betting. So it's a fairly varied portfolio. We also have several clients for whom we manage or consult and assist them with their gaming operations as well.
Excellent. So you do it all, to say the least. Well, speaking of that, considering how gambling is kind of making its way to new markets throughout the U.S., have you all at Delaware North adjusted how your company is structured, how your divisions work together to account for that sweeping legalization, especially of sports betting and to a lesser extent online casino gaming?
So I think that, it's a continual evolution that all of us are involved in. The gaming business is evolving in a lot of different ways. There's a lot of focus right now on sports betting expansion and behind that digital gaming expansion. But I think that while there's within Delaware North, a lot of focus on the opportunity of sports betting and iGaming expansion, there are a lot of other areas of opportunity and evolution that we're also very much focused on. We're tracking what's happening in terms of different forms of gaming that are being explored and legalized. There are a lot of conversations happening in the market around historical horse racing, around VLTs, around, a lot of different types of games and types of gaming. There's entertainment into expansion into different forms of entertainment. The traditional gaming market is broadening a lot, and a lot of traditionally gaming companies are looking at other ways that they can satisfy and engage their customers. One area that is a major area of growth and expansion for us that we don't talk about nearly enough, in my opinion, is the expansion of mobile and for Delaware North, a component of that is free to play. Delaware North acquired a company called Ruby 7, more than 5 years ago now. And, in the tradition of being not only an operator, but a service provider to third parties, we actually are the free to play casino app provider for many, many regional land-based operators within the U.S. And, to me, that is, let's say, symptomatic of the type of partnerships that Delaware North seeks within the gaming space. We are traditionally a hospitality operator who has, we hold a lot of our own portfolio, but we also provide expert services for a lot of clients within the space.
Excellent. And this is slightly off book. I know I sent you questions in advance, but you mentioned the free-to-play aspect. Is that a viable avenue to kind of getting hooks in a market where online casinos aren't legal yet, but may become so eventually?
I think that we tend to think of the markets as being pre-regulation, extra regulation, and regulatory markets, right?
That's a great way to frame it.
It's not just about, as you say, getting hooks in or front running a market and preparing, creating a database, creating customer relationships. It's also about recognizing that consumers have different demands and different appetites at different times. When they forge a relationship with a gaming enterprise, they want to be able to interact with them in different ways at different times. I use this example all the time when I'm talking about the differences between land-based gaming and mobile gaming. If I want to get in the car and drive down to, I'm here at Southland, in West Memphis, Arkansas. If I want to drive with my friends and come visit this property, that is a certain commitment of time, and I have a certain expectation of that experience. There are days when I don't want to make that commitment of time. I don't want to get up off the couch. That I can, with the expansion of regulated gaming, extend my relationship through my mobile device and be able to bet on a sporting event or in some markets spin the reels on a slot machine. And there are also days when, frankly, I don't want to enter into the risk reward equation. I just want to be entertained. I'm not in the market to start putting dollars at risk, and I just want to play a game and escape for a little while. And the same customer who makes a trip to Wheeling or Southland, who bets on a sports betting app, some days free to play is what they want. And we see very high engagement through our free to play apps. And it's also an opportunity for us to maintain brand awareness and to open channels of communication with our customers in different ways. So I think it's not only viable, it's booming. And, these attempts to separate the world into three kinds of people, the ones who go to casinos, the ones who bet through their mobile device, and the ones who play for free on their mobile device, that's not an accurate worldview. We're all, we all have different appetites at different times depending on context.
I love it. That's probably the best I've ever heard anybody encapsulate that specific point. Where do your priorities lie in terms of your physical properties, especially with regard to the expansion of sports betting? Are you looking to add physical sports books? Have you already done so at many of your properties? How are you approaching the spread there?
Well, obviously, if we could, we would add physical sports books to all of our properties. Just as regulated retail sports betting has expanded with different sets of rules and different opportunities in different markets, it's the same with mobile gaming expansion, right? The participants in each market are different. The opportunities in each market, the competitive environment, the tax environment, the regulatory and compliance environment is different in each market. We are live with retail sports betting operations at 3 of our properties in 2 markets. We are aggressively planning our expansions. We have announced recently, I'm not sure if you're aware, a joint venture with a partner to form a digital gaming enterprise called GameWise. And GameWise is a digital gaming entity that will both support Delaware North in its gaming operations, but is also was created in response to the need for regional operators to have a turnkey solution that would allow them to invest in the future value of their own organizations. Because one of the holes that we've seen in the market is that smaller regional operators are essentially being provided the opportunity to either invest very heavily in not only physically plant and equipment and hardware and systems, but also building the in-house expertise to be able to operate a sports book, which is a very different line of business than land-based gaming. Retail sports betting is a different business. Mobile sports betting is a different business. And it's a lot to take on, particularly if you're trying to achieve economies of scale. But the alternative is partnering with an operator that will come in and essentially act as a tenant to serve their own client base. And so, I think there are a lot of regional operators who, like Delaware North, want to find a way to invest in their own customer relationships, their own brand, but don't necessarily want to take on the risk of bootstrapping their own enterprise. And, we believe that Delaware North, given our reach, given our relationships both in gaming and in sports, given our history of being a B2B service provider and operator for many clients, we're ideally positioned to be able to deliver a turnkey solution for those regional operators that are looking for a value additive approach to gaming expansion.
Excellent. And you touched on the kind of importance of the customer relationship, especially coming, we're kind of still in the middle of this pandemic, but there was a period over the past few months where people kind of saw the light at the end of the tunnel, as it were. In a good way. That was a terrible way to put it. Jesus. My apologies. But I think what I'm going for here is when casinos were starting to reopen and welcome more business back, was there an increased need for good marketing and or did your marketing strategies have to change?
So as a marketer, I'm going to say there is always a need for good marketing.
Fair. I agree.
I think that our approaches obviously had to change. When we reopened, we're relying very heavily on our core, on those customers who we had together invested in building a relationship that was the work of years. And, we focused very much on welcoming those people back and creating a safe environment for them and for our staff to come back to, and spent a lot of time evaluating what will people feel safe and comfortable doing, what is most important to them that we can deliver. The challenge with this pandemic is that what people feel safe and comfortable doing and what they have the desire to do is very, very dynamic. I think there was lots of pent-up demand when we first opened our doors, but we've continued learning a lot about this illness, about the risks, about how to manage those risks, about where our customers will indulge us in terms of not providing the complete experience, what those things are that they demand from us. I think where we focused most heavily in going through this pandemic is building flexibility, resilience, and velocity into our marketing operations, the ability to identify a change and respond to it, not in weeks, not in months, in days and in hours, in order to be able to not waste resources because resources are scarce, in order to be able to understand that there's a shift in demand, that there is an unforeseen situation that we are watching evolve and that we need to respond to, et cetera. I could not be prouder or, or feel luckier to get to work with the team that I do in terms of, the resiliency that they've exhibited, the energy that they poured into continuing to create great experiences for our customers. But it has required a tremendous willingness to learn and change and actively listen to our customers and to each other.
And have you found that your customer demographics have changed, or is the pent-up demand coming from folks who were coming often before shutdowns and are now just hankering to get back?
I think that we're seeing, and I sort of hinted at this, we're seeing familiar faces more than new faces right now. I think in the middle of a pandemic is typically not the time for a lot of individuals who haven't made it a habit to go to casinos in the past to suddenly say to themselves, I know what I'll do. I am going to go out and finally get to that casino that I've been meaning to get to. Now, there are some instances, obviously, where we had markets where virtually everything else was shut down and we did become the de facto place to dine or place to get out of the house and come for a little entertainment. But I would say that the volume at which we see trial, new customers coming through the door has been dramatically diminished. So it's a lot more about continuing to enhance the relationship with our existing customers. And it certainly is a narrower subsegment of those customers. It did tend to be, certainly in the early days, focused much more on the younger demographics in our audience, because obviously this is an illness that has statistically been shown to impact older demographics more dramatically. And so obviously, those individuals are motivated to be cautious. But we do take significant steps to protect our employees and our guests, in terms of all of the protocols and programs that we've put in place to create a really safe environment for them.
Amazing. And as you're considering how best to serve your customers, you mentioned the formation of GameWise, the digital gaming entity. What other partnerships, deals do you have in place that can help you better reach and connect with your customers? And how do those partnerships power that better reach?
In terms of reach of the customers. So Delaware North really is a partnership company.
Right.
If you look at the broader enterprise, we have partnerships that go back, approaching a century. It's quite incredible to me. Delaware North is all about relationships, whether it's relationships with the sports franchises that we serve, whether it's relationships with our suppliers, whether it's relationships with our technology partners. In the gaming division specifically, we put a lot of emphasis, or more and more emphasis, I would say, on developing partnerships with our suppliers and with our clients. We're just, and I'm going to bring this up because it's something that I'm entrenched in planning for right now. Historically, when I joined Delaware North, we were a largely decentralized gaming organization, and a lot of our promotional programming was handled at the property level. So they designed, developed, and executed their own event calendar. One of the things that I worked towards when coming aboard was seeking opportunities for us to be able to leverage our supplier partnerships and bring the different properties together into shared promotions and events. And we're working towards our annual Real Lucky tournament right now, which is a multi-month event in which our customers can come to property, participate in slot tournaments and drawings, compete to win prizes and win entry into a major slot tournament. I'm stealing someone's office who just tried to get in here right now. Uh, and compete to be one of 5 finalists that travel to the grand prize slot tournament at one of our facilities. And we have done that for the last several years in partnership with Pepsi, who is a major promotional partner of ours. So they help us with prizing. They help us with transportation. We brand the event as a Pepsi sponsored event, and it's something that we do together jointly across all of the properties, so we can afford to have much bigger prizes. We have much greater reach, and that's been just a tremendous partnership with Pepsi. We do similar things with our Great American Poker tournaments. We have card rooms in Florida that are dedicated poker rooms. We have begun to organize satellite poker tournaments at our other facilities and are working with various partners to have them sponsor those tournaments. So I think there's a lot of those kinds of partnerships that we try to leverage. We leverage partnerships in terms of gifts and benefits that we can deliver to our customers. I'll give you another example. Delaware North, one of the divisions that we have is our Parks and Resorts division. And, over the last couple of years, we recognized that Delaware North has a portfolio of really bucket list destinations that we can provide access to. And so as an extension of our loyalty program, we worked with the Parks and Resorts division to essentially unlock access for our most loyal customers, for them to be able to travel, to some amazing resort destinations at national parks, to be able to get out to the Grand Canyon, Cape Cod, Honey Creek, all of these amazing resort destinations that Delaware North has a hand in creating hospitality experiences for. Delaware North really is a customer experience company, whether that experience is, sharing a hot dog with your son on opening day, at the baseball park, or, jumping up and down cheering as you watch the reels line up and you hit a jackpot, or, waking up on a mountaintop, or easing your way, through our travel division, through an airport, and, having a great dining experience there while you're off on a great family vacation. And so looking for ways to leverage partnerships both within our organization and beyond our organization is where we're really focused. And I know I'm being very long-winded with this answer, but I'm going to just point to one other partnership.
This is perfect.
I'm going to point to one other partnership that I'm certainly very excited about. We recently worked with and partnered with the Catawba Nation of the Carolinas in opening the new Two Kings Casino, which is located about 25 minutes west of Charlotte, North Carolina. That is a tribe that has worked tirelessly for decades to get to this place, and the opportunity for us to collaborate with them to work on incredibly aggressive timelines and to get this facility opened that when it reaches maturity will completely alter the economic fortunes of the tribe and of the region. For me, that is the kind of partnership that is extremely fulfilling to get to participate in, and one of the reasons I'm so thrilled to get to work with Delaware North.
Perfect. Now that is a perfect soundbite, I think, to cap things off. And you've given me more than enough to work with, which is absolutely fantastic. I'm gonna stop recording here. But just really